well, here we are for another one of our Tim Talks about getting closer to nature, or as I'd like to say, what this talk's going to be about is reclaiming your birthright, to have a close personal relationship with our earth and with all the living things upon it, not just human beings. Now, starting off, I'd like to first say, you might notice a little snow behind me. This has actually been the first snow we've had. We're in March, early March, on our land in Mount Shasta. It's been a very dry year. A little disconcerting in some ways, but we're here, and we're loving the snowpack in the mountains, and it brings me excitement for the spring to come. I remember one of my mentors said to me when I was young and growing into my relationship with the earth, Bo Almroth, he said, always trust the earth and the plants and the animals and the waters to do the right thing overall for all living beings. He said, stop always trying to control the earth, manipulate the earth, even to understand it to some degree. He said, just let yourself go into it, be one with it, and no matter whether it's releasing a torrent of water down a creek, or it's a mellow trickle, or it's a rain, or a massive storm, or anything else like that, just learn to trust the earth to do the right thing. It's been doing it for billions of years. It knows what it's doing. The earth created itself to provide a home for Homo sapiens, humans, and all other land animals that live today. For much of the earth's history, we could not have lived here. It could not have happened. The earth created itself for us. It was awaiting our arrival. And now the earth, and I really honestly believe this, and now the earth is waiting for us to step into that next phase of our existence upon the planet, which will be a good one if we get there. And that is to become earth caretakers, to make the earth the reason we are here. The reason that we get up every day is to care for this planet. And in so doing, it will do what it's always done. Care back for us, and we can prosper, and we can flourish, and all the other beings that live on this earth can do the same thing. But in order for that to happen, there's some very simple first things that have to happen. One is, we've got to reclaim our birthright, to be close to the earth, to have a personal relationship. Society has taken that from us. Our parents, our families, our teachers have taken that from us, almost always inadvertently, and I'm not here to blame anyone. We're all in the same boat. We're all together on this one. We all need to reclaim it. But if you go back into time and you look at our ancestors, even before gardening came into existence, they were like the bears. They were like the dolphins. They were like all the other land animals that live with the earth, and like the birds, you name it. They lived close with the earth. They ate from the earth every day. They dreamed of the earth every day. They were one and the same with the earth. They had no choice. It wasn't that they were any better than this, but they had no choice. That's what they had. Now, like humans have always done, and it's part of the gift that we have, and it's part of that darkness that lives within us when the gift isn't lived in a good way. And that gift is, we have this incredible brain. We have this incredible consciousness, this ability to decipher things, to think of the past, to think of the future, to figure things out, to build with our hands and our minds and create things. That's what we do. Ultimately, we hope those incredible skills that other animals don't have to the degree that we do, we hope those great skills will take us into a place that we can live close to the earth. But right now, we're in a kind of a perplexing place. That is, just think about yourself. How often do you keep your face in your smartphone? Lately, I've been traveling a bit, and I've been watching people, and I realize we have become those smartphones. We have become those computers. We have become our cars, We have become so much the things that aren't truly us at our core. Those things are tools. They're wonderful. They have their place. I love them. But when we become them, we lose something integral in in the character of who we are. We damage our earth souls that want to belong to the earth. In fact, our souls, our hearts, our brains, our eyes, our nose, our touch, our smell, our hearing, all these elements that live within us, these beings that live within us, are calling out for us to reclaim our birthright to the earth, to be close to the earth again. Once we do that, everything will change. Our world will become more alive, we will become more interactive with it. We'll be like living on another level of existence almost. It'll be like, as I've taught some classes in shamanism in the past, I tell people a very simple thing is when you get to this place where you are the forest, you are the ocean, you are the landscape, there is no separation. And in that place, even if it's just for a moment, as you melt into the landscape and become one with it, you almost disappear. It's almost as if you could walk through trees and even stop and be inside of trees without even having to consciously think about it. You are as much of the forest in the landscape as any other animal. That is a life-changing moment, and that's where you want to get to. Now, the good news is our ancestors, they already did it all. For thousands upon thousands of years, they did it all. And then we came into the industrial age, and we started to push nature out. We started to push it out. It wasn't even so much a conscious thing, more of an unconscious thing. In the quest for an easier life and more modernity in life, we pushed nature away until the point came, after consecutive generations, we started to forget. And now we're at a place where it's almost an anomaly to have a close personal relationship with nature. I remember I grew up with it, with my mentors teaching me, and I remember in high school, the kids often used to make fun of me. They used to call me a nature freak, and it was kind of a negative, derogative thing. And I took it kind of hard. And now I realize what a gift it was that I had that throughout my whole childhood. And now hopefully I can inspire people today to reclaim it. Because when we reclaim it, then we will start to feel what the earth feels. And we won't let what's happening to it as human beings, it's often called today by modern scientists as the sixth extinction. There's been 5 major extinctions to the planet Earth and all terrestrial life in the past. The last being the end of the dinosaurs. Sometimes it was a volcano, sometimes it was an asteroid, sometimes it was all kinds of things like floods and things like that. Each time the Earth has built itself back. But since the dinosaurs, something unique appeared, human beings, and here we are. And now the 6th extinction is human beings. As we overpopulate the Earth and live in the unhealthy way that we are, eventually the Earth is going to be damaged greatly, and that is going to equal damage greatly to us. We have to reverse that, and that's a part of what this is about. Once we feel close to the Earth, which this series of talks can help, we won't allow ourselves to live in a way that hurts this precious, precious planet that we love so much. So we have to do it. Now, one of the first things I'm going to say to you all is this. If you want to be close to the Earth again, yes, come to my school. Yes, listen to these talks. Yes, go to other schools. But at the end of the day, you have to get off your butt and you have to get out in nature and just be there. Wandering, climbing trees, no particular purpose. And for sure, put that smartphone away. The minute you're in the woods and you answer that smartphone, you lose it. Got to put it away. Got to just be. Stop staring at the computer. Stop staring at the TV. Stop hanging out with all your friends. Get out in the woods and spend time. Wherever that is. The ocean, the mountains. The more the better. The more the better. And I know some of you have fear. I know there's some certain amount of false fear, I would call it. You know, the insects are going to get me. I'm going to get lost. The weather's going to get me. The bears are going to eat me. Practice through our school, reading books, getting out in the woods and practicing little steps here and there. You'll eventually feel more confident and you'll go further and further out to where maybe eventually you can start wandering into wilderness areas and wild areas and You won't actually be afraid of the animals anymore. You'll invite them to come into your space, as I do, and enjoy their presence. So this whole series is going to be about this and ways to do it. But bottom line, none of it matters if you don't get off your butt and get out there. Excuse me. So please, get out in the woods. It's the best place to be. There's this great saying that came from a children's book by Estes. And it said, get out into the woods. If you don't get out into the woods, your life will never begin and nothing will ever happen. That's from a kid's book. And I tell you, it couldn't be said better. That is so absolutely true. So absolutely true. Now, I have a caveat. I've got to give you a warning, or I wouldn't be a good, honest teacher. As you develop these skills and open up more, as you open your heart more, your soul more, your brain more to the earth, you're going to also not only see endless beauty on a grand scale like you've never imagined, and feel connection like you've never imagined. You're going to actually know how to relate to trees and to plants. You're going to actually know how to relate to our earth itself. It's going to make your life so much more heightened and alive, and it will affect everything in a positive way. Everything will get better. It will transfer back to your human relationships, and your love life will be better, and your friendships, and your business relationships. It'll all improve greatly, having that foundation of that core of that relationship that's close and loving and personal to the earth. But the other side of that is you're going to feel more. So you're also going to see, feel, smell, touch, know, be aware of more of the pain and the damage that's happening to our earth. And you can't let it depress you overly. You can't let it take you down these dark, endless holes. You can't let it ignite the anger in you to a point where it's unhealthy. A good, healthy anger can be very positive, but you got to monitor it. You've got to be able to find a container, a way to hold it within your being and let it spur you into being an earth caretaker, where you go out and you create a better earth. You become part of the solution, not the problem. And that's going to take work. That's going to take community, a supportive community, supportive friendships, and time in nature. And you are going to see many sad, painful things. Many I'll talk about over the next series of talks. And you're going to have to, I repeat, find a way to hold them within you. I'll give you a quick example. I have an apprentice who I've worked with since he was a teenager. Now, he's gone through all kinds of stuff. He's an amazing young kid. I love him dearly. He's part of our community and our family. He's been here to help me. And recently, he was a firefighter for a while. And recently, he's become a logger. Now, I'm not against logging. Trees are on this planet to share themselves. And we'll talk much more about that. But they're all about that. They're not even about attachment. But in this day and age, we should never cut down old growth trees. And I found him on the internet bragging about, first of all, getting rid of a bunch of people who were sitting and protecting an old growth forest, making fun of them, and finally getting rid of them and being proud of cutting the tree down they were sitting in and trying to protect. And then more recently bragging about cutting old growth trees down, and as it was a fun thing. Folks, there's only maybe 2-3% left of old growth trees. They are the elders. They are the most magnificent beings on the earth. I have taught this forever in my school. When he said that, it broke my heart. I didn't know whether to let him go, a relationship with him, whether to keep trying to work with him, let him evolve. But I saw him walking on one tree in a photograph that he'd cut down. It was probably 250 feet tall, probably 400 or 500 years old. And it just made me cry inside. I said, I just don't get it. And that's the kind of thing that's going to happen to you, is you're going to see the wounds that humans have created upon this planet, and you're going to have to deal with it more. You're going to have to deal with it. So that's my caveat. You got to know it going into this. And hopefully it'll spur you into really learning how to be an earth caretaker and help to make our planet healthy again. Because if we do that, if humanity does that, there's a chance for us to evolve into the next level that I think the Earth is holding us for. The Earth caretaking level. And it can be a great place when humans are at their best. Because I know, and you know, when we come from our heart, when we come from love, when we are allowed to be of service and to help the world around us and the beings around us live better, we are at our best. That is what we are made to do. Human beings, we are at our best. That lives within every one of us. And nature can be that instigator to make that happen. So I implore you all to really think hard about this and start getting out in the woods. And I don't care if it's a tree in your backyard. You get out in the woods. And these next series of talks will be all about us building that deep, deep personal relationship with nature. So that when you look out in the woods, when you look out on the landscape, it's not outside of you. You're looking out into your home. You're looking into the place you live. You're looking into the place that holds you. You're looking into the place that wants you to be a part of it all, not separate from it. You won't be separate anymore. You will be the landscape. You will be the landscape. And that is truly a defining moment in a person's life when it happens. I remember one last thing I'll share. I had a gal that I was working with for years, to help her to have the same experience. And it was in her head. She was very much a head person, and she was constantly in her brain trying to figure it out. And the brain can't figure out the world of feeling very well. You just have to let feeling be feeling. And that is often how the Earth communicates more on a regular basis, is through feeling. So it's like learning a new language, the language of feeling, and how to take the language of feeling and then let it give you knowledge and let it give you information, but not always coming through the brain. She was a complete brain person. One day I saw her coming in from a time I'd sent her out in the woods for a sit. And she was just crying her eyes out. I mean, really crying. And I felt, oh gosh, what happened? And I asked her. And she said, I finally got it. A tree spoke to me in the way you said, and I got it. And I know it was real. And then I moved through the woods, and it kept happening. And she said, I'm crying because I'm so sad. I'm so sad that I realize what I've missed in my life. I'm 40 years old, and I've missed so much, so much. And I said to her, hey, you're starting now. You'll reclaim it quick. It'll come back fast because the memory's there. Remember, our ancestors already laid the foundation. It's within our being. It's in our cells. I think there's something like 50 to 100 million cells in a human body. Our cells are all individual beings, and they know. They remember. They long for that connection. So, good story, don't you think? I hope it's going to be your story, really. And I thank you for watching this and listening to this, and I hope it really helps you. From the deepest parts of my heart, I really hope it helps you, and thus helps our Earth. Hope.